Hi there, Mike for Recreation Limited. Today we're going to talk about test strips. It's a very important step for everybody's hot tub. Our test strips are freshwater test strips. They test 5 different things. Depending on what system you're using for your hot tub will depend on which one of those you need to read. They test 5 things: bromine, chlorine, pH, alkalinity, and water hardness. Anytime you test your water, you're going to dip it in for 2 seconds. Shake off the excess water and then read it top to bottom. The top line is total bromine, so if you're using a bromine system, this is where you're going to want to read it. Depending on which system you use, most systems will be 3 to 5 parts per million of bromine. The next part is free chlorine. You're going to same thing. You're going to want 3 to 5 parts per million. The next is alkalinity. You want anywhere between 40 and 120 is our safe zone, so to speak. If that's where you want it. Typically our water in Indiana is very high, but depending if you have well water, it might be low. pH, same thing. Most of the time it is really high, but it needs to be between 7.2 and 7.8, 7.2, 7.8. Right now our water here at the store is rating pretty high. And then the bottom line is going to be hardness. If you're using a freshwater salt system, it will need to be between 25 and 75 parts per million, which is on the bottom of the strip. Otherwise, it's helpful if it's between 75 and 150, but most water in Indiana is about 450. So there's not a lot we can do about it. You can use some soft water, but you have to have a little bit of hard water in your hot tub. So you want to balance those out. So pH and alkalinity, you use either spa down or spa up, depending if you're using leisure time chemicals. If you're using freshwater chemicals, they're called pH alkalinity up or pH alkalinity down. They will raise or lower both pH and alkalinity at the same time. 95% of the time they are both either high or they're both low. So you can use one chemical to do both steps. And then chlorine or bromine will depend on which system you're using. Chlorine, you just want to make sure you have at least 3 parts per million before you get in, and the same thing with bromine. If you're using bromine, you're going to have a tablet dispenser, so you'll have to make sure there's enough tablets in there and that the rate is high enough for it to dispense at that rate depending on usage. That's all for today. Thank you.